Okay, Assalamu'alaikum.wr.wb. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you again in this meeting, and welcome back to our English class. Okay, I hope you are in a good condition in this occasion. Today we are going to learn about passive voice in chapter 5. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, this is chapter 5. This is about passive voice. Today we will talk about the structure, cultural awareness, and then when to use passive voice and when to avoid passive voice. The first is about the meaning of passive voice. Passive voice is a sentence where the subject is affected by the verb. You can see the pattern in the slide. There's subject and then to be, then continue by past participle. For example, like this: the shop is the subject, and then is to be, and closed is past participle. At 10 p.m. is an adverb. In a passive sentence, the most important part is the action. Passive sentences make the text more formal and impersonal. In a passive voice, the person or thing acted on comes first, and the actor is added at the end with preposition by. But sometimes the actor is omitted completely. And then when we use passive voice, of course, for the first is when the actor is unknown. For example, like this: the cave is painting were made in the upper Old Stone Age. And then the second, we use passive voice when the actor is irrelevant. For example, like this: an experimental solar power plant will be built in the Australian desert. And the third, we use passive voice when to be vague about who is responsible. Vague means not clear, not sure. Samar-samar in English. For example, mistakes were made. Jadi tidak jelas yang membuat kesalahan siapa. But we can make it in a passive voice. And then number 4, when we're talking about a general truth. For example, rules are made to be broken. Next, we use passive voice to emphasize the person or thing acted on. For example, insulin was first discovered in 1921 by researchers at the University of Toronto. And the last, we use passive voice in a scientific genre. For example, the sodium hydroxide was dissolved in the water. This is called scientific genre. Next, when we should avoid a passive voice. Passive voice should be avoided in certain instances in academic writing. The first is when it creates vagueness about the actor. For example, both Othello and Iago desire Desdemona. She is courted. Why it's called vagueness? Because it is not clear who courted Desdemona or Othello or Iago or both. So it's called vagueness. We can say ambigu in Indonesia. Next, When you focus on different ideas of different researchers between yours and those of the researchers you are discussing. For example, research, research has been done to discredit this theory. And then the last, we should avoid passive voice when it makes the text wordy and indirect. For example, since the car was being driven by Michael at the time of the incident, the damage should be paid for by him. Okay, this is the short video about passive voice. And then after this, we will continue with some notes that can make you more understand about passive voice. Thanks for watching and Assalamu'alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.